So, Ruth, I have included this new segment in the second season of the podcast. It's called Know Your Host, where I give my guests an opportunity to ask me any question they might have.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love this.
Please go ahead.
Yes, of course. Gurasis, I've been listening to several of your podcasts, and I was listening to the transition to to the second season, and my question for you is: when you go into interview someone, and you want to learn about their story, what is the first thing you do before interviewing that person?
Before I sit on a call and talk to them, what I
Yeah,
do,
before this, yeah.
I think it's exactly what I did with you and all my other guests. Like, I make sure that I have the introductory call, like an intro call, just to get on the same page and also to see whether our vibes match. And also, I want people that who are coming on the show, they have some sort of a willingness to lend a helping hand to any of our listeners. I would like to do that as well. So I think that's pretty much the very first thing I do, and making sure that I know what are the things that they are comfortable sharing on the podcast and the things they don't want to touch upon, because I want to respect their personal boundaries as well, because why not? And I want them to share the podcast with more and more people with their community, anything that they would like to share. So that's why, all in all, the short answer is I make sure I sit with them and get on the same page before we hit that record button. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. And I love to hear that. And I went through that. And the reason why I wanted to hear it out loud is for others to hear how careful you are in your approach and how you get to connect with other people
Mhm.
behind the scenes. So there is so much
Yeah,
that happens behind the scenes, from
absolutely.
writing, getting to know the person in a personal level, a little bit more about themselves. So thank you so much for that. May I ask you one more question?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
How does the stories that you have heard impacted you as the podcast host?
That's a beautiful question, because I do get that question a lot offline also. And some of my previous guests in the second season have asked me this also, but maybe in different words. I think these conversations have really made me realize one thing for sure throughout my immigrant journey, that I am not alone in this.
Yes.
If I am questioning myself, I'm questioning my abilities, I'm questioning my decision of coming to Canada, I'm not alone. And everything that I have gone through, or even currently I'm going through within my the corporate career journey, it's not something that it's unique to me. People have gone through that, and all these conversations help me really navigate those situations, and also a sense of surety it gives me that things do get better. This is just for time being. All this is really helping you build your character, and eventually you will look back and you'll say that I'm so glad that certain thing happened, because that helped me and that shaped me, or more, I will use a better word, that all carved me into the person I became today. So these conversations have really been a source of inspiration for me, because the people I'm speaking to are professionals in their career, people who have been in Canada longer than me. They have a little bit of additional years under their belt, and all that experiences, all that mistakes even they have done, and I can learn from them. So I am so glad, I would say, that universe took me or chose me as an agent to have these conversations and put the stories out. And I hope I stick to that, and I continue to do this to put out more and more stories out. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that line. It does get better. It does get better. That's a very hopeful phrase, and thank you so much for sharing, good assist. And I think you are uh, doing an amazing work in the podcast. And every time I listen to it, it gives me like a boost of more confidence to keep moving forward. Because, as you said, I am not alone in this. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing.
No, thank you for these questions. Again, there are some parts of your mind you never tap on, but because of these questions, it forces me to reflect upon, some things that you do in your life. So thank you. Thank you for this question. Perfect. So now, Ruth, we are in the final segment of the podcast. I call it Beneath the Accent because we are knowing each other beneath the accent. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence or however you feel like. The idea is just to know more about Ruth. So, ready?
Yes.
So, first is what advice would you give to your younger self and at what age?
Any age below 15,
Okay.
I would say to myself, your now is not your forever. You will do
Hmm.
amazing work. Your now is not your forever.
Love that. Yeah. Perfect. So, describe a moment when you experienced a significant cultural difference that surprised you a lot in Canada.
One of the culture is the coffee drinking culture, but going to Tim Horton and asking for a double double. I didn't understand, and I was
I'm
afraid to
sure,
ask.
yeah.
I didn't wanna appear. Uh,
Dumb,
I'm not
and
dumb.
I'm on the same page. I was like that as well. I was like, okay, double double. I don't know what is that.
I went there and like, give me a double double. So I went there to buy some tea and other things, and now someone asking double double. Until I had to ask someone what is a double double, and then they asked, "Oh, double coffee, double shot of milk, double shot of sugar." So that was my one of the culture shock, and I was afraid to ask because I didn't appear dumb. But when I eventually asked, I'm like, "Huh." That makes life easy. You don't have to give all the detail. Just say a double double. So
Great. Okay. What's this one dish from your home country that always brings you comfort and nostalgia?
mm, a dish called moro.
Okay.
I grew up with that. Moro is a dish, rice and beans cooked together. And the rice is very grainy, and the bean is there as well, and it's very flavorful. So when I eat it, I think back on my childhood and how my mom used to cook it for us. But also, if you go to any restaurant, you will find it as well. So moro is my ah dish that brings beautiful memories.
What's your favorite cultural festival or celebration in Canada that you have now adopted, and how do you celebrate it?
Ooh, I celebrate well, Canada Day. First
Okay.
July. So first July, I celebrate Canada Day because there are so many events happening around, and I can say that's pretty much it because I learned so many other holidays in Canada. But I love Canada Day because it makes me look more into the Canadian history, but also reminds
Hmm.
me of how I became a Canadian and all the process I went through, and I make myself celebrate like a Canadian. I go for a poutine, or I make
Hmm.
it a purposefully go and ask for a double double. So Canada Day is definitely one of the holidays I have been adopting since the last, let's say, 6 years in Canada.
Okay.
5 years, yeah.
So, what's something that you ate for the first time in Canada, and did you like it?
Ha! Pizza, pineapple pizza, and that's not a Canadian thing, but that was the first time I ate it. It
Okay.
was from Pizza Nova. Sorry if I no. So I have to mention that I ordered pizza and I wanted a pizza with thing, and by mistake they delivered a pizza with pineapple. And I was wondering what is this because back home we do pizza with cheese and many countries are being westernized,
Hmm.
but I never tried it with pineapple. So when I tried it, and I asked my husband, "What is this?" and we started with pizza and pineapple, and then that's when I realized, okay, this is really good. And the second dish, I'm sorry, you said one dish, but it was poutine.
Okay. Did you like it?
Delicious. Extra
Okay.
calories for energy. Delicious. So every time I
Okay.
go for a poutine, I always ask, okay, give me poutine. I always ask to not put bacon, but they add all this beautiful sauce there and cheese. I love poutine. So that's another dish I love from Canada.
Okay. Perfect. So tell us about your first friend that you made in Canada. And are you still in touch?
Yes. So the first friend I made in Canada was from church. So I go to church, and that person speaks Spanish. And that person, I remember when I was going to church, I couldn't travel. It was in the middle of March. It was around my fourth week here, and I just went online and contacted that person. And that person sent someone to pick me up because I wasn't sure how to navigate, taxi and everything. They had no
Hmm.
worries. I will find you a driver. And they sent someone here to drive me and took me to church, and we're still in touch. And that's something I really appreciate. And talking about feeling belonging here.
Hmm.
So feeling that
Yeah.
feeling of belonging, that person made me feel uh, that I belong. When they brought me to the community and we started sharing
Yeah.
food, we started sharing, thoughts and how to navigate Canadian culture. So she helped me a lot, and I still keep being friend with her for 7 years now.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect. So if you had to describe yourself as any creature, what would it be and why?
for any creature. Ooh, I would say a lioness. I don't know if that's how you
Okay.
say it in English, a lion or lioness. And that could be a little scary, but I would say more in the kitten side because what I would describe is bravery. When I say
Hmm.
lioness, bravery to face challenges, bravery to take care of my family, bravery to take care of my professional career, bravery to take care of myself. So I think I would describe myself as a lion because I would still be that caring person who cares for everyone else, and I would protect it. So
Hmm.
definitely with a lioness.
Hmm. Okay. Perfect. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. Teletransportation.
Okay.
Teletransportation. If I think something or somewhere, a place, I'm there. That would give me the opportunity to visit many countries I want to visit, and enjoy and immerse myself in other cultures and learn from them, which can be hard if you have to take an airplane and go through all the process. So definitely teletransportation to help me get that experience.
Okay. If you could create one law that everybody has to follow, what would it be?
That would sound simple, but connect with others. If there's an immigrant coming, connect with them, make them feel belonging, connect.
Hmm.
And I know as human being, we tend to connect. We are social beings, but I wanted to make it purposeful. um I want to feel a belongingness. I want the other person to feel belongingness as well. So connecting with the other person would be a law. Oh yes. Oh, Gurasis just made it to Canada. Okay, let me just contact Gurasis and tell him there's a community here for him and he's welcome. So definitely connect with others purposefully.
Perfect. Love that. So, how would you describe Canada in one word or a sentence?
Multiculturally vibrant.
Okay. I think that definitely defines it. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So, Ruth, now, if you could leave me with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Keep up the good work. You have no idea who's listening.
Yeah.
You have no idea which heart is willing to listen to stories. And I think there is power in story sharing. And I said that word very purposefully. Story sharing. We can tell stories, but sharing our stories from within um, has an impact in others. It's better than any masters out there. When someone listens to what someone else went through, and they can see themselves, I am not alone. I can do this differently, or I can join this club because this person maybe it could work for me as well, or I can do this to improve myself. So keep up the good work because you never
Mhm.
know what heart is in need to listen to those messages.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thanks for your advice. And finally, how would you describe your experience of being on the podcast?
Ha! It's been fun. It's been relaxing, and I consider myself a little bit too excited person. I can be very excited to
I
share,
am the same. Yeah.
too passionate, I would say. But
Yeah.
I think what you did previous to this recording, making me understand how it will work or getting used to the platform, I think that experience made me feel a little bit more relaxed as a speaker, to just focus on just sharing every time you ask me a question. And I
Yeah.
also love that how you made it feel like a conversation. um, I love the dynamic of sharing and listening also to your point of view and how it
Yeah.
relates to your culture and how it relates to you. So I feel like you finding that commonality made me feel very comfortable speaking about my story.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear that. And thank you for being on the podcast, Ruth. And the next time I'm meeting any Dominican Republic person from Dominican Republic, I'm gonna say keloke for sure. So thank you for teaching that. And thank you once again for being on the podcast and adding value to my listeners. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gurasis, and thank you so much for giving me that platform to share a little bit about myself and about my journey. It was a pleasure, and again, thank you so much.